Om Maha Ganapataye Namaha. How catching up to modern science can transform your reality. I just finished watching a live webcast with Dr. Pillai, who brought up a beautiful, simple, profound point that I want to pass along in this video. And this is amidst or while the coronavirus situation is going on, and he was talking about how, oh, we need all these ventilators, they're saying, and the media is saying we need all these things to combat the coronavirus. We need 30 days on each ventilator, etc., etc. And then he was pointing out the study of Norman Cousins with placebo effect, and you can research countless studies of placebo effect, where he split up this group of people, and half of them he told, you're going to have chemotherapy, and he told everyone you're going to have chemotherapy, and your hair is going to fall out. Now half the people he just gave a placebo, meaning some inert substance that's not chemotherapy. It's not designed to be medicine. No, it doesn't do anything, like a sugar pill or something. And of those people, 35% of those people, their hair ended up falling out. Now, if even one person's hair fell out who just received the placebo, that alone is worthy of a study and a research and a reflection on scientists. How did this person's hair fall out when they didn't receive anything to make their hair fall out? So, but 35% of those people, their hair fell out. And similar with other placebo effects, they have other ones where, like, they have surgery with people. Half of them, they'll have knee surgery, right? Half the people, they'll cut their knee open and they'll sew it back up. They won't do any surgery, but they'll tell them that they had surgery and somehow the knee will be healed. And how is this happening? It's showing, it's a proof that the mind is capable of realizing anything that it believes in without requiring anything else. It doesn't need medicine, it doesn't need anything. That the mind alone is powerful enough to produce any result that it wants. It's showing us that we are only limited in our reality by our concepts. So he was also talking about how the problem is that we are groomed from a young age. And with science and technology, rationality, intellectual thing. In other words, from a very young age, our conceptual lexicon, if you will, is being confined to a limited reality, which is based on physics or the material sciences versus the spiritual sciences, where the scientists are saying this is what's physically possible and this is physically impossible. Therefore, it's not true, it can't exist, it can't happen. So Einstein says where the science ends, there's religion begins. And what does he mean by that? Where the physical sciences, which is our sciences that are using our five senses, the material sciences end, where that ends, there the subtle sciences of spirituality, which is outside of the measurement capability of our five senses and even our modern equipment, there that begins. It also means that the so-called spiritual or subtle sciences is just as true as the material sciences, and although we aren't able to perceive them, it doesn't make them false. And you can see in things like placebo effect that it's true that the mind, there's a subtle science of the mind that the physical sciences aren't able to understand. They don't understand how someone taking a placebo can have and is told that they're going to have chemotherapy and their hair is going to fall out. Our modern sciences won't accept or acknowledge or understand that how their hair is falling out. It doesn't make any sense to them. And so another science that we need to catch up to is quantum physics, which is saying the same thing. As you observe, so your reality is. The observer is everything. The observer theory. The observer is the mind. And the quantum physicists are saying that unless reality is observed, and once it's observed, it solidifies. But prior to that, matter, what we're calling as matter, or reality, if you will, is existing as a wave of pure potential. In other words, reality is infinite. It's an infinite material or substance, if you will, to relate this. It's an infinite substance that can be wielded to solidify into any reality that we want. And we are only limited on how we solidify that reality, or reality we experience or create, by our concepts, which is our mind. So this is why if we can catch up to our modern sciences, which these things aren't being taught in schools. We can have, if we can teach the concepts of placebo effect and how by taking in a concept and believing in it, or what they would call as faith in religion or spirituality. So see all these terms that they use in spirituality, so-called spirituality and religion, were used by people of a time they didn't have a vernacular of things like DNA, of quantum physics. They were using a different vernacular. However, make no mistake, it is just as much of a science as we are making out the material sciences to be. And what it's all about is bringing science and spirituality together. In other words, bringing a vernacular of the modern times, bringing in that to make, because Einstein also says, religion without science is lame. So religion being the out-of-date vernacular, the things, the concepts that was used by people of a different time, that's out of date. It's lame because we're not able to explain it through things of modern science, what we understand and what we've been groomed to use as our discrimination. So the goal is bringing these two things together. However, you can skip all of that by looking at just placebo studies, which there are so many, and quantum physics, which is essentially saying what the super science of spirituality, the science of, say, India, of the Vedic sciences, Siddha sciences, they've been saying these things for thousands of years. In Sanskrit, the divine language of India, they say there is only one rule. That rule is you become as you think. And this is exactly what the observer theory is. You only experience, your reality is what is how you observe it. It's how you think of it, is how your mind is oriented. So the takeaway message is, and I want to say one more thing, Dr. Ply brought up, I have to get this in, is Einstein was saying the imagination is far more profound than the intellect. And what does he mean by that? The intellect represents the confined conceptual lexicon. The intellect represents the binding or bounding of consciousness. Whereas imagination, you can imagine whatever you want. You can imagine the tree starts walking and talking. Your imagination isn't confined to any lexicon. It's not confined to any defined concepts that says this is true, this is not. Your imagination is unbounded consciousness, and this is exactly what the unlimited potential of quantum physics is. Imagination is aligning yourself with the unlimited potential that reality is at its core, its foundation, fundamental. I understand that we're experiencing, oh, this is solid, oh, if I light something on fire, it burns, or we need ventilators for the coronavirus. I understand that that's a reality that we have collectively solidified, and individually we all reinforce this constantly by believing in these concepts. Just remember Einstein, genius. Imagination is more profound than the intellect. If you can imagine and if you can believe in the imagination, because that is what placebo is all about. The Norman Cousins telling people that you're going to have placebo and your hair is going to fall out, that requires them to imagine that. They have to imagine, I'm going to take some substance and that substance is going to make my hair fall out. Because it's something that we understand, oh, we know what chemo is. Everyone knows that when you take chemo, your hair falls out. Therefore, it's not a large leap for them to believe that. If he was to say, if you take this pill, you'll have the power to levitate, are they going to be able to do that? Probably not, because their conceptual lexicon, their current conceptual lexicon, which has been groomed, as Dr. Ply said, will not accept that if you take this pill, you can levitate. Does that mean it's not possible? And that's the question that I want to ask you. Does that mean it's not possible? Think about it. Go and look at some of these saints and siddhas, rishis of different traditions, not just India, but also in Christianity, Egypt, all these miracles that these people are able to do. What does the miracle mean? Miracle is just a word that we apply to something that we don't understand. Miracle is something that happens outside of our conceptual lexicon. Therefore, oh my God, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. How is it possible that this could happen? Only because it's a miracle. What it means is anything's possible. There is nothing that's impossible. That's the message. Everything is possible. It is only limited to your conceptual lexicon. How do you change your conceptual lexicon? It would be helpful to provide some information about that rather than just say. First of all is to just open your mind to that anything is possible and be imaginative and believe in it, and don't limit yourself to what other people are telling you. So part of the grooming process is also you have to ungroom yourself, and to do that you have to open your mind and accept that reality is unlimited, and just catch up, like the title of this video and the core of this video. Allow yourself to catch up to what modern science is saying, and also not just saying and theorizing, but like the placebo, what is actually being demonstrated. This is being demonstrated over and over and over again. Now, the way that you can, another way you can do this, and I don't want to go into this, this would take a long time, I'll just say it simply, and you can do your own research, is through sound mantras. Fundamentally, consciousness, or what is called as the mind, is composed or comprised of sound waves. This is the science of mantras, is the science of sound. By using certain sound waves, you can reorganize and restructure your mind and unlock different potencies of the mind, unlock different concepts of the mind, naturally and organically, without having to go and learn anything. Untaught awareness, untaught consciousness, untaught intelligence. So go and look at mantras given by Dr. Pillai, or any authentic guru who is giving these mantras. I hope this video helps. As always, if you have any comments or questions, feedback, please leave them in the comments below this video. If you'd like to be notified for future videos, please click the subscribe and the bell notification button. God bless.